Hello, my name is Douglas Bloch. I'm an author and depression counselor. Welcome to your Depression Recovery channel, where each week we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. The title of today's video is, Should I be taking antidepressant medication or psychiatric medications? We can begin this video by asking a simple question. Can you imagine someone waking up in the morning and saying, "Oh my God, I can't wait to get out of bed and take my Prozac, my morning Prozac. I am so excited." Well, in 16 years of asking that question to my clients, no one has ever said yes. This demonstrates the ambivalence people have about taking psychiatric medication. And we're going to explore that ambivalence, and also we're going to look at the pros and cons of taking medication. As I see it, there are many reasons for the ambivalence that we have about taking medication. First, we live in a culture that promotes self-reliance. So people don't want to be seen as weak because they're depending on something outside of themselves. Also, there are the side effects of antidepressants, which are numerous. Some of the most prevalent ones include nausea, increased appetite and weight gain, loss of sexual desire and other sexual problems such as erectile dysfunction and decreased orgasm, fatigue and drowsiness, insomnia, dry mouth, blurred vision, and constipation. Doesn't sound like much fun, does it? In addition, some of these side effects can be quite severe because of a paradoxical reaction to the drug. Dr. J. Cohn wrote in the journal Postgraduate Medicine, quote, "People vary in their sensitivity to drugs. One person's remedy may be another person's overdose." This is what happened to me in 1996-97 when I was thrown into an agitated depression by my adverse reaction to a drug called Effexor. And I've known a lot of other people who have had adverse reactions like mine to SSRIs. Next, there are people who tell me they don't like the way they feel on medication. It's not that they have side effects, they don't just like the way they feel. For example, people with bipolar disorder often says that lithium makes them feel flat and they don't have access to their creativity. Another problem is the stigma that some people feel about taking medication. A short time ago, an 18-year-old boy wrote to me, emailed me and said that he was really depressed, he was in crisis, his parents weren't helping. What should he do? And I said, go see your school counselor and tell your parents you want to see a child psychiatrist who works with adolescents. He wrote back and said, "I'll see the psychiatrist, but I won't take medication." I asked why. He said, "I don't want anybody to know. They'll think I'm crazy or weird." Then, of course, there's the cost of medication, which for many people is outside what they can afford. For example, in my new video that's coming out on depression and anxiety and financial problems, I tell the story of a psychiatrist prescribing me a very good drug called Latuda, but when I went to the pharmacy to pick it up, I was told it cost $1,000, and this was after my insurance had paid its share. So medications can be very costly, especially new ones before they become generic. Finally, there's the question, if I'm going to go through the hassle of the stigma, of the cost of these drugs, of the side effects, how effective are antidepressants anyway? Well, I recently ran into an amazing study that was just published by the National Institute of Health on January 12, 2017. You can look it up on the web, and here's what they found out. They said that, amazingly, 40 to 60 people out of 100 who took antidepressants found that their mood had improved over 6 to 8 weeks. Not too bad. However, and here's the catch, when they gave people a sugar pill and said it was an antidepressant, it was a placebo, 20 to 40 people out of 100 said they were better after 6 to 8 weeks. So there's only a difference of 20 out of 100 or 20% between the two. And finally, the researchers concluded the study by saying for mild depression, very mild depression, antidepressants make no difference whatsoever. You might as well exercise because it's just as effective in decreasing the symptoms. So does this mean that all antidepressants and other medications are worthless? Not at all. There are times when people become manic from bipolar disorder, psychotic, severely obsessed or suicidally depressed. In these cases, I have seen these medications bring a person's thoughts and feelings back into balance. So back to the question, should I take psychiatric medications? Well, here's how to find out. If you begin to notice that you're having some of these symptoms of anxiety or depression, let's start by using some of the conservative, holistic strategies we talk about on this channel. diet, exercise, social support, good sleep, having structure in your life, getting out in nature, etc. Do this for a couple of weeks and see how you feel. If your symptoms start to go down, that's great. But if they stay the same or if they get worse, it's time to bring out what I call the heavy artillery. Medication, TMS, which is transcranial magnetic stimulation, or in really extreme cases, ECT, electroconvulsive therapy. Here are some examples of where psychiatric medications can be quite effective when nothing else is working. One of my group members had obsessive thoughts about suicide. She woke up every morning with these thoughts. She tried lots of different therapies and cognitive behavioral strategies. Nothing worked until she took Prozac. She started the Prozac. Within about a week or two, they started to decrease. Within 4 or 5 weeks, they were gone. Another client was bipolar, and she was called a rapid cycler. She would go through these frequent dips about every 2 weeks. She'd have a really dark depression. It only lasted 2 or 3 days, but it paralyzed her, caused her to miss work, and she withdrew from friends and family. Then her psychiatrist put her on Lexapro. That was 12 weeks ago. She's had no more dips since then. And finally, another friend who has bipolar disorder had some stress in his life, losses. He became psychotic. He actually thought that myself and another friend were trying to kill him, so he was hospitalized. Not much happened until they put him on Zyprexa, a really good antipsychotic. Within 2 or 3 weeks, his mind started to clear, and he could think logically again and came back to reality. Here are 3 cases where antidepressants did what exercise and meditation couldn't do, so you see there is a place for them after all. So despite my misgivings, my initial misgivings about medications and the fact I and others think they're overprescribed, there is a place for them to treat psychiatric disorders. Perhaps we can see them as correcting imbalances in the brain, just as people wear glasses to correct vision, or people take asthma medication in order to breathe. I am terribly nearsighted, and if you took away my glasses or the contacts I'm wearing, I couldn't drive. I couldn't even find my way to the driveway. So maybe it's like that with psychiatric medications. For some people, they can be the difference between functioning and not functioning. This has been Douglas Bloch. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something from it. If you'd like to give me some feedback, leave your comments in the comments section or email me, douglasbloch@gmail.com. Or if you want to learn more about my work during the closing credits, if you click on my photo, you'll be taken to this YouTube channel where you can subscribe, I meant. If that was a very funny stuff, wasn't it? Anyway, if you click on the book, you'll be taken to my website, healingfromdepression.com. And if you click on the videos on the right-hand side, you'll be taken to... And until we meet again, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. Thank you so much. We should keep that.